Hello and welcome back, everybody. Wasim here from Breakout Solutions and Decrypting Crypto. And as you guys know, we always try and bring you guys the latest news and information about what's happening in the financial system and where we're headed. Now, recently, if you've been following me on social media, on Facebook and Twitter and so forth, and LinkedIn, you would have seen me talking about the Australian bank's war on cash. And I did a series of about 5 different posts where I discussed all the different things that are happening in Australia right now with the reduction of ATMs, banks no longer holding cash in branches, banks freezing or blocking people's accounts for any reason that they believe fit, banks stopping transactions going to certain exchanges and things like that, and the new laws around the banking having the bank's community standards where they can actually block you out of your account if they believe you're being in violation in community standards. So imagine, like most of us would have heard or have experienced, I've experienced Facebook jail and LinkedIn jail, and Twitter jail for as a matter of fact, and multiple times because they believe that I said something that went against community standards. Now, imagine that type of control over your bank. If the bank believes you've done something against community standards, or they believe that for whatever reason that you've done something wrong, they can actually block you out of your bank and freeze your accounts. So I was posting on this and I had the lovely Kerryn jump on and comment about an experience that she's had. So I reached out to her and I wanted to find out exactly what she's gone through. And she told me her story and I thought, you know what, this is a story that really needs to be shared so people know that it's happening in the real world. It's not just people posting about it. So I asked her if she'd be willing to do an interview with us, a short, maybe 10 or 15-minute interview, that we can just explain what happened and how she got to where she is now and the resolution that she had. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce everyone, Kerryn Abagi, to the show today. Kerryn, thank you very much for your time and welcome to Decrypting Crypto and Breakout Solutions podcasts and YouTube videos. Would you like just to introduce yourself a little bit about who you are, where you live, what your background is?
Of course, yes. My husband and I, we live on the northern beaches of Sydney, and we've been in traditional pharmacy business owners for 30 years, long time. And personally, I've worked in clinical research and hospital pharmacy, and then moved into online commerce space and network marketing, and then found myself in options trading, learning that, and some commercial property owner, and learning that space, which has been good. And then always looking for new ways to create pillars of income. And at some point, I came across, tiptoed into cryptocurrency back in mid 2021, and then sort of moved and developed in that area, and now I find myself in blockchain actually with the company doing amazing things, and regulated digital assets. And so there've been a few transactions going on in our account and different things, and I've found myself in a situation with a major bank. I'll name it. Is that okay to name it? I guess Commonwealth Bank of Australia, who we've been in business with, or partnership with, I suppose, and we're banking with them for 20 plus years, like a long time. We're actually diversified across different banks as well. It's not our only group of banks, but that was our major one. We had our self-managed super fund there. We've been directors of our own self-managed super for 20 years, plus years, actually, a long time. We got set up with a very good financial structure a long time ago, and it served us very, very well.
So from what you're saying to me, you're not just an average person. You've been an investor, you've been a business owner, you're quite astute and you're quite knowledgeable about the financial system, and you've got multiple investments and multiple income streams or income pillars, as you call them. So I would consider you as an above average investor. You're not the average retail investor that's just doing a punt and trying to learn this. You've actually got years of experience in this, right?
Yeah, I have been working and learning in the sort of financial market space for some time now. And, I learn from people that are very knowledgeable and do study as well. So But they're all video bite-sized courses and things that you can learn. Self-education, I think, is really, really important, and to get empowered. And I've been in multiple crypto courses just to learn, because you can't just, everyone has different strategies. And
Perfect. So look, and I love that, and I totally agree with you. I believe in always seeking knowledge. I think knowledge is the best way for us to move forward, and always learning things and questioning what we already know, because we don't know what we don't know, right? But what I'm really, really interested in finding out more about is your latest experience with the Commonwealth Bank. And I know you mentioned a few things. I don't want to give away the story, so I won't take the limelight away from you. But why don't you tell us what happened and how you were treated? But let's first focus on what initially caused your alarm bells per se to go off.
Well, I went into my local branch and went in and made an international money transfer, a wire transfer, to a third party, and it was all approved by the banking staff. I mean, it did take like an hour, just because they're so short-staffed in there. But when the transaction happened, it was yes. And I asked how long it's going to take. They said 48 hours, 24, 48 hours. So, you just expect it to be in the recipient's address. And it was for a business investment. And there was a time sensitivity period as well. So that was on a Wednesday. That was the 19th of July. And then on the Thursday afternoon, I just got a random phone call. And I was busy working at home, computer doing focused. And but I saw on my phone, it was like I think I got a text message first, and it said something like, "There's a scam detection, want to call," or something. So I thought, I don't know what that is. So I thought I'll take the call. Didn't have to, but I thought I'll take the call. So I took the call, and it was a guy from CBA, and he said, well, he didn't exactly. I asked him where he was from, and I had to start asking his exact details, because he was asking me a lot of very direct questions. And anyway, so I always careful who I talk to, because the numbers that come up, they're not identified. And it turned out that yes, it was supposedly from scam detection of Commonwealth Bank. And he said, "You've made a transaction," and he said, what did he say? He said, "You need to go into the branch, and we're going to be investigating that, and I'm going to be freezing your net banking account, like not just to that one, but to all of them." So I was like, "Why?" And he said, "Well, the way you've sent it to, it's a scam." I said, "It's not a scam." And he started asking me, where did I get the address from? And he just started asking lots and lots and lots of questions. And I was like, I'm not sure how much information I need to give you, or how much, what my rights are as a customer for privacy. So I gave him some information, but I certainly didn't give him every question that he was asking me that was actually even unrelated to that transaction. So that call probably went for about half an hour. It was a long enough time. So then that was in the afternoon. So the next morning, I rang my branch to make an appointment with the branch manager, but couldn't get one. So I just went in and met with they call a staff specialist. And he said, the branch manager said, "It's the same thing, whether you talk to her, talk to me, we're going to be calling fraud." I said, "Well, I'm here because my net banking's locked. I don't know about the fraud call, but we can talk about that." And he goes, "Oh, I know all about it." He goes, "I've read your file." I said, "Oh, well, what's my file?" So we went into his cubicle, and then he wouldn't let me read it. He said, "It's an internal banking record." And I said, "Well, what does it say then? Because you can read it to me. Can you read it to me?" He said, "Yes, I can read it to you." He started to read it to me, and it was, I was quite shocked about what it said, because the questions that the guy had supposedly asked me, he hadn't actually asked me. Some of the questions he had, and some of my responses were there, but the other questions he certainly had not asked me. And so I wasn't happy with that. That was the first thing. I thought that's an internal banking record that, you know, if you're going to follow up and ask me questions about anything, it needs to be an accurate record of what we spoke about even yesterday, because he said different people from his department might ring and they'll pick up on the case, and he keeps very accurate records. So that was the first thing.
So two things that I've picked up from there. I just want to, sorry to interrupt, but just want to ask you a question. So when you made that transfer to this international or this overseas, this international wire transfer, which many businesses do all the time, you know, because we live in a global world and we work internationally, and we've got international suppliers here in our business, so we pay them sometimes. Now, when you do that, you actually knew who the other party was, and you knew them on a personal level. You spoke to them on the phone. You knew what you were doing, right? So you knew exactly where you're sending your money to.
Particular one, no. Just saying that particular yes, the where I was going to send it to, yes, I definitely knew them, spoke to them, and everything. Yes, it was going to, yeah.
And then you're going to, sorry,
it was going to another local party in Australia, in Sydney, actually, Martin Place.
Yeah, and they have it, and they have an
exchange.
Yeah,
yes, and they connect it and they send it on.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And that happens a lot in the financial markets. It happens a lot. There's many companies that may have offices in Australia, but their banking is somewhere else. Like for many reasons, they could be an international company. They could have, they could be in, you know, in tax havens. They could be in, for whatever reason there is. It's none of the bank's business. That's the point I'm trying to get to. And the second thing, which I didn't know until you mentioned now, which is your record. They wouldn't let you see that, even though under the Information Act, you're allowed to access that record about you with any company. Any company that has a record about you, you have a right to access that information and ask for the full details to be given to you, and they wouldn't give it to you.
Yeah, I've since found that out. At the time, I didn't know, definitely, because, you know, you just got this banking person saying, no, it's our record, and it's like, you can't look at it, but I can read it to you. Well, I ask, what does it say? You know, and yes, but I've since found out, yes, you can request anything and they have to give it to you within 30 days. But, you know, 30 days, it drags out a case, you know, it's a long time.
Okay. So what happened after they read that out to you and you realized that some of the information there was incorrect? Okay, I don't want to say it's intentional. We won't go down that path, but it was obviously incorrect. There was questions that you believe you weren't asked, but there were answers in there that you believe you didn't say. What happened at that point?
I said, I need to correct that. We need to lodge a complaint. I said, that record is inaccurate. And, you know, before we even call fraud, again, this record needs to be corrected. Yeah. And so he said, well, I can help you do that. He said, we can escalate to the retail resolutions department and he can type. So he started typing away. I couldn't access his keyboard. I couldn't see what he was doing. So I would just dictate, he would type. And then I'd have to ask him to repeat what the phrases were, because I needed to hear exactly what was said. And then I have to refute exactly what was not said or said. So it took a while, I have to say. And then we got so far, and then in between he said, well, let's start calling fraud. Well, pretty much towards the end of that, he said, let's start calling fraud. And then we were, even waiting on the line for them in the bank. And then we were finishing off the form, trying to finish it off. And then fraud came on. So we started speaking to them. But it was a different guy as well. So, yeah. And in all, the appointment went for about 2.5 to 3 hours. It's a very long time.
And what was the resolution of that particular interaction?
There was no resolution. The fraud guy said, we've got reason to believe you are caught up in a scam. You have been scammed. He wasn't saying I was a scammer. He was saying you've been caught up in a scam, and that's why we've blocked the. Well, actually, no. That's when I found out. Sorry, from the staff specialist. That's when I first found out they'd actually even blocked the transaction. I had no idea. When I went in to the bank. The guy on the day before didn't even tell me he'd blocked it. He just told me he's blocked my internet access. He didn't tell me he's cancelled or reversed the wire transfer. So when I went in, met with this guy, Gordon at the CBA Bank, he said to me, started reading it out. And then he said, and the transaction's been, they've attempted to recover the funds. And that's like, why does it say that in there? He never told me he was going to recover funds. That was a shock. That was one of the keys, actually. I thought, you're recovering my funds. I don't want my funds recovered. I didn't ask for a thing. I didn't report a scam. So why is this even happening? And he said, well, until we discover, the investigation is over, it's like your funds will be locked. Everything will be locked. So apart from the fact that the records were inaccurate, then it was like another complaint going in, because I didn't even know that they'd blocked the wire transfer until I went into the bank asking about, trying to get this whole mess sorted out, because I thought maybe it's an error, or why is he doing that? I'm not involved in a scam. Just explain it. But no, that didn't happen. So when we spoke to the fraud guy, I was happy to speak to them. I was happy that the calls are recorded, because I didn't want to have to repeat myself all the time, because you're always speaking to the different person, and it's better to have the call recorded as well. Anyway, this guy, Sam, he was quite young. He was fine to talk to, but he definitely wasn't going to unlock anything. And so he said, we'll just have to leave it there. I said, what do you mean leave it? I don't want to leave it, because it's like Friday and I needed my funds to go to where they need to go. How long is it going to take? He said, well, it can take as long as we need to take. So there's no joy.
Basically, they made the judgment that you have been scammed. So they've already called you a victim without even talking to you, or even when they did speak to you, they had wrong information in there. Even though you have said, I want this money to go there, I know what I'm doing, they completely locked you out of all your banking access, including ATMs and net banking, or just net banking?
Just net banking. Just net banking, but on all my accounts. And I had at least 6 different foreign currency accounts, other accounts, access to my father's pension, a full account, because I'm a power of attorney for him. He's 95, to help him, and different things. So I thought, one transaction that they're questioning that they raised, I didn't. And I said, it's not even a scam. I don't even know why you're even saying it's a scam. And I asked them specifically, that guy, Sam, I said to him, what is your evidence, please? Tell me what is your evidence? Why are you saying that? And he goes, we have evidence that it's, he wouldn't say exactly. He just said, there's millions of dollars have been lost through this scam. Or I don't know if he meant scamming full stop or what, because the whole thing was just like new to me. Like, I understand, yes, there are scams and terrible, but I was sure where my funds were going, and they were just kept saying it's a scam.
Yeah, and look, I mean, from what you're saying, I mean, it's one thing for them to say, we're doing this for your protection. And look, I'm the first one to agree. There is a problem right now in the world, not just in Australia, but globally, with financial scams. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yes.
Something that we are very, very against here in Breakout Solutions. We educate our members on how to avoid and how to first of all find and point out scams, and then avoid them. So I'm very big on that, and I think protecting people is very, very important. The banks need to do that. But I think even this morning I was listening to one of the news channels that I follow on YouTube, and what they're doing in Japan right now is they're actually now threatening, because they've got the same problem. They're actually threatening to take away the elderly. They're threatening to take away their bank cards away from them because they keep getting scammed. So yes, there is a problem in scams. I agree. There is it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's all over the world. But at the same time, taking people's financial liberty away is not the solution. The solution is educating people. That's my belief. It's about giving people that education and letting them make their own choices and being there for the support. And at the end of the day, banks do have insurance, but I think for them to completely cut you out of all your 6 bank accounts, including your father's a pension or superannuation, whatever it is that you have for your father, that you obviously need that money to look after your dad. So for that period of time, you had no access to your money except for an ATM machine.
Or yeah, I can ring them up or I can go into the branch. But then what happened was on Monday, then I was told I'd be called with that's right. So when on the Friday, when I found out my funds have been attempted to be recovered by the Commonwealth Bank, I said to them, well, where are they then? Because if they're not at the destination where they're supposed to be, where are they? And so the fraud guy said, I can't tell you. I said, well, you've recalled it. Where are they? Because, you know, it's a decent sum and it was our super money. And they also needed to be in a certain place because I wanted to invest and use them. And so he said, well, that's a different department. You have to initiate payment inquiries. So I said, well, who's going to do that? I said, well, I'm in branch. So I got the guy sitting in front of me, Gordon, to do it while we're on the phone still to fraud. And so he initiated payment inquiries request to find out where the funds were. And he said, so basically the call had to end after that period of time. And then we submitted the complaint. And then he also so there was a complaint, but there was also the payment inquiries generated from the branch. And then payment inquiries, he said, I'll call you today with when we find out where your funds are, and I'll also SMS you. So he'll SMS, and he'll email me. Anyway, he didn't do that on Friday. I waited till Monday. He didn't do that on Monday, didn't do it on Tuesday. And I was waiting also to see if the funds had actually got through because I hadn't confirmed that they had recovered. They said, we're going to attempt to recover. No, I was just hoping. I said, I hope you don't recover them because I don't want them recovered. I want them to go where they need to go. So we waited until Tuesday afternoon and it was 4:45 and then they hadn't arrived. Banks are closed. So Wednesday, following week, I rang to make an appointment again for the branch manager. There was no one picks up the phone. It's just answering machine. So I just drove in and 10 o'clock I was there and wanted to meet the branch manager. And then they said, she can't meet today. She's too busy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's too busy. She did have a customer, but I said, there's one customer there and I'm here. I can wait. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. That's why I went early. I said no. And then I said, what about second in charge? No, she's too busy as well. It's like, anyway, in the end, I did speak to the second in charge and, but she was adamant. She said, I can't help you. You have to speak to fraud and nothing else I can do for you except meet with the branch manager and you can meet with her tomorrow if we can get an appointment for you. I said, well, that's 24 hours later. I said, I still don't know where my funds are. And I haven't had a call from you to tell me where the funds are.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that wasn't good. Anyway, so I went back 24 hours later and, in the meantime, on the Wednesday afternoon, so that afternoon, I did get a call from the complaints department and she said, we've received your complaint. Just to tell you, I'm just starting to look at it now. She couldn't tell me anything about it.
It was like almost a week later. So you did the first transfer on a Thursday, right? From my understanding.
First transfer was on the Wednesday.
So this was a week later. This was like 8 days.
7 days later, I get a phone call. Yeah, because the complaint was made on the Friday.
Yeah.
So then on the Wednesday, I get an acknowledgement to say, this is just a call to acknowledge that I'll be looking after your case. And I haven't looked at it yet. But I was saying to her, I need to know where my funds are, at least. Where are my funds? And I can't see the branch manager tomorrow. Anyway, she looked it up and she said she can see that the funds have actually been successfully recovered. So, okay, well, at least I know where they are because they weren't at the destination. It's like it was constipated. They weren't at the destination and they weren't in my bank account. So where are they?
Yeah.
I wasn't being told. So they finally told me, she told me complaints department, she said they're sitting in the sub-account of the branch. Okay. Well, at least I know where they are. So I'll be going to see her tomorrow on the Thursday at 10 o'clock because we had an appointment. And because she wouldn't see me today. That's all she could tell me. And she said, she goes, it's 4:02. and I finish at 4. So she said, I can't look at your case now. She goes, I'll look at it tomorrow. That's what she said to me. I said, okay. Anyway, so I went in at 10 o'clock and I had to wait until 11 o'clock to be seen. That was an appointment that I had. So she was with someone till 10 to 11, and then she came out and said, I'm very sorry. It's been another few minutes. And then when she came out to see me, she said, I've been smashed. I'm being so busy. I said, really? That's what she said. And she said, what can I do for you today?
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow, unbelievable. I said, yeah, I think you know why I'm here. Anyway, I recapped lightly that, I made a wire transfer. It was attempted to recall. I think it was recalled. Now I need my funds. Where are my funds? She said, I don't have time to help you today on that.
Wow. Wow. So the
branch manager.
Yeah, the day before 4:02, they can't help you. 2 minutes after closing time, they can't help you. You get there at 10 a.m. in the morning, they can't help you. You make an appointment and they tell you they can't help you. So 3 times in a 24-hour period, they pretty much rejected or declined to give you assistance.
Yeah, that 402, just to clarify, that 402 was the call from the complaints, saying the complaints lady, not from the branch, but that was just like complaints. But
my point is, it's a culture across the whole bank.
Yes. Oh, yes. And it's happened more times since then as well, like against the same incident. So yes. And so I was like, I'm not moving. I'm not leaving until you, because I knew where I'd been told by complaints department the day before, that Wednesday, that my funds are here. So I said, when she said, I don't have time to help you get your funds today, I said, what do you mean? I said, that's why I'm here. I said, you're the only person I was told yesterday that can see me. Now I'm seeing you. Now you're telling me. Anyway, so, and I had to tell her, I said, I've been told that the funds are in your sub account. And then she said, no, they're not. I said, have you looked? I said, I've been told they're here. Anyway, and I told her, the complaints department. And so then she typed away 10 minutes. And then she said, she wrote some stuff down and she said, yep, they're here. She said, I'll transfer them to you straight away. So she transferred them to me. At least I got that chunk of money back. And I mean, it wasn't a small sum. It was a decent sized sum. And but at least they're back and I have them, apart from the fact I've missed my opportunity, and I did ask my $30 refund for the transaction fee because, of course, and she did that. So, so then I left. She did offer to close the account and I would have wanted to close the account, but because we have other, it's a transactional account as well with our super, we have other income coming in and we're expecting funds. So I didn't just want to shut it down. So there was no notice about when I was going to get everything. So I said, I'll be back when I know what I'm doing. So I went back at 4 o'clock, with Sim because I wanted to transfer funds out. Not all of it, because again, we had to keep it open. But I was going to take out 100K basically. And so I did. I went and had to wait another 45 minutes from 4 till 4:45. Then I got seen by the same guy, Gordon. He generated a wire transfer to Bendigo Bank, just to another bank account that I had. And as my role as a director, corporate trustee of our super fund, it was perfectly fine to do that. It was signed off by the second in charge and done. So by 10 to 5, 5 to 5, it was done. So I said after that, I said to the guy, could you please now call fraud? Because now if I've got my funds and my funds are going out to another bank, I actually want to speak to fraud. And he said, it's 3 minutes to 5. We're not going to get through it in time.
Oh my God.
I got used to this treatment. So I was like, okay, I'll just leave. So I left and it was, 5:05. I got home 5:30 in the car, just hadn't even got inside. The phone rings and I thought, I don't know who it is, but I'll take the call. And it was fraud.
Yeah.
Fraud guy, same guy. And he's saying, you've just been to the bank. You've just tried to do a transfer. I blocked it. Again, to the Bendigo Bank. He blocked it. Like, it had just been signed off. I had my confirmation of receipt and everything.
And this is your own bank, your
My
own,
own money to my own bank account.
you know,
Yes.
with another bank, and they've
Yes.
blocked.
Yes. And I said, can I at least come inside? Because I was sitting in the car, it's getting dark. And I said, I'll just come inside. You can call me in 10 minutes. Anyway, he calls back. An hour and 10 minutes later, he's like, now, he said, I gave him some more information, but the more I gave him, the more he just twisted stuff. It just got worse and worse. And this time, I can tell you it was him for sure. I told him about a project that I am involved in, the blockchain project, and I'm very close to the project, and I'm investing in the project. Anyway, he told me that I'm definitely in a scam. Within 10 minutes of me telling him the name, he said, you're in a scam. I knew he was wrong. I just knew it because it's not. And it's completely wrong. Again, I was so glad the whole call is being recorded, because I said, it's completely false. What you're saying to me is completely wrong. And he goes, I am telling you, and this is what he said. He said, I am telling you the truth. You have been scammed. He went as far as to say, your family are going to be so disappointed when they find out how many hundreds of thousands of dollars you have lost. That's what he said.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
And this is all, look, I mean, I can go down many different rabbit holes and many different rants of why banks are doing this. But the end of the point that I make is Bitcoin and crypto is a threat to the traditional financial system, because it gives us the opportunity to have control and self-custody of our funds, and banks don't want that. Banks want us to keep our money with them, where they can do whatever the hell that they want with it. You know, and I think I had a chat with you, and I told you, and I said to someone on social media that once you deposit your money into the bank account, it's actually no longer your money. Legally, it's their money, and you're just a lender to the bank, an unsecured lender. So if the bank actually collapses, you know, there's no security for them to pay you back. They'll pay all their other creditors first, all their other debt first, before they actually pay you. And people don't actually realize that. And I think it was you that said to me, hang on, I went back to my lawyer and validated what you said. What did your lawyer say to you when you went back to them?
He said, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. And a lot of people
The money's not ours anymore. It's like crazy. And I asked my husband, I said, did you know that when we deposit our money, when we put our money there, and it's not actually our money anymore?
Yeah.
It wasn't. No, like we've been banking for a long time. You know, I think it's the culture we've been brought up. It's like money is safe, put it in the bank, you know, put it in the bank, put it in the bank.
It's actually not safe at all. The bank is probably, you know, the riskiest place you could put your money. I mean, I tell you now, we all have to use banks, right? We've got no choice. They're like public toilets. Sometimes you have to use them, but I just say, don't leave your money there. Same as exchanges. Same. And I've literally did bank myself. My wage comes in, one day it's in, the next day it's gone, and it's out of the banks, it's in my own custody in different various ways. But that's the way I live right now. You know, my bank account is constantly zero. Like, someone wants to look at my bank account and go, this guy's poor. Let them think whatever they want. I don't care what they think, because I want to make sure I have custody over my money. I have custody. And I've been through, you know, very horrific story, which many people know during 2020 and everything that happened with me during the lockdown and the businesses going down and banks stopping, putting me in what they call it? Financial stress, or all these words that they put us in without even telling us. And then we had a very bad experience. And took 6 months. I mean, I think you got a resolution within a couple of weeks. It took me over 6 months to get a resolution with the bank, and I had to go through AFCA and everything else. So after they did that, after they blocked your transaction to your own bank account from Commonwealth Bank to Bendigo, what happened after that?
What day was that? That was what day was that? That was Thursday, Friday. I'm losing track. What happened after that?
So that was 5:30 on Thursday. They called you. He told you that your family is going to be disappointed in you for losing.
That's right. So I came inside, and my husband was downstairs. When he said that, he said, your husband's the other trustee on the super account. I said, yes, he is the only other trustee. He goes, we want to speak to him. I said, I can go get him now. He goes, no, we want him to go into the branch with you, and then from the branch you can call us back. Wow. So why? I said, you're the one that has the power to release or unfreeze or or lock it, whatever you're doing, because when I go to the branch, they said they can't do anything. So now you want me to go with my husband to the branch when he's downstairs. I could get him now after work, because you want him to close the pharmacy, stop serving customers. He said yes. Therefore, we lose income there. And, not serving the customers, which is really important, serving the community. And then come in to see the branch for what? To go through the whole story, because we just want to make sure he knows everything that's been going on. I said, he knows. And if you want to ask him, then he started asking me questions. Well, what would your husband think about this? I said, I'll go get him now. Why don't I go get him and I'll get him on the phone and you can talk to him now. That's it. Resolve this. He didn't want to do that. He refused. Then I asked who his manager is. I said, I just had to go the other route. I said, well, are you the head of department? Or he goes, no. I said, well, can I, wonder the name of the head of department, please? He wouldn't give it to me. So I just wanted to go above him because it was just useless. And he just said, well, now he said, he said, this is not up for negotiation. That's what he said. He started getting really condescending because you don't understand. He said, this is not up for negotiation. You and your husband are going to go to the branch, and then from there, they're going to call. And I said, so what? Do we speak to you again or someone else from your department? He goes, well, I make notes. That's what he said. I make notes, and any one of my equally competent staff, colleagues can talk to you about it. Or it could be me. He goes, most likely it will be me. Thinking, well, I don't even know when it'll be you. And besides, I don't even really want to come back into the bank again. Because he said it will be at least an hour. I'm thinking, Gil said it will be at least an hour, because by the time I get through all what you say that's incorrect, it'll be a very, very, very long conversation. And it's so exhausting. Anyway, so I didn't go in on Friday. And then, because my husband was working anyway, and Saturday, Sunday, Monday, he was working again. And Tuesday, he does have a day off. So we went in to actually open up an ANZ account on Tuesday morning. That was fine. Was just waiting today actually to hopefully get that through, but to have somewhere to put our super money. But then after that, I took my husband into the CBA, and then I didn't know what we're going to face, because I was told we wouldn't be able to close any accounts without calling fraud. We just walked in. We just said, we're here. We want to close our account. I said, oh, all right. So she did it. She started to do it. But then before she did it, I said, can you please check the balance? Because we're missing money. Wow. It still hadn't come back into our account. This was the 100K. And she said, oh, all right. And she was going to close it without the 100K. I mean, that's just not right.
So did you end up, so after all of that, you ended up opening up a bank account and moving everything to another bank?
Yes, but we also got the 100K back. I mean, she said, oh, all right. And then, so they basically had that 100K for about 4, 5, 6 days.
Wow.
6 days, and didn't give us any interest on it. And they said, if you want an interest, then you can raise another complaint.
Yeah.
So we did that, raised another complaint, left the bank. But it took another hour, obviously, to get all that done. It's really bad, really bad. And then we just decided we'll stay there, we'll close, 6 accounts. My husband's still got a transactional account there for his business, but, he's got to do a lot of that. So,
I'm so sorry you've gone through all this, Kerryn, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time and sharing this with our viewers and our community. I think that this is just honestly the tip of the iceberg, what you have experienced and some of the chatter that I've been getting from so many of our clients. And it's been happening for a few months now. We started hearing chatter within our community of banks blocking transactions and this and that as far back as probably about April or May. And then it just started getting worse and worse and worse over the last 3 months. And this is why we're so vocal about this, because we believe in financial liberty, and we believe that every single one of us has the right to do whatever they want to do with their money without being questioned. And that's been taken.
Do you want to know one last thing about what happened as well? Like, it was pretty significant. It really shocked me. I did another wire transfer the day before for a different project to my business partner's bank over in the US. And that went through. and he'd received the money and everything, which was good. But the CBA guy decided to initiate, try and rescind that money that's already gone through to the Chase Bank. So my business partner rings me at 11:30 at night saying, I'm sorry it's so late, but it's important because I've got a call saying, want your money back. I don't want my money back. What are you talking about? She said, if you do, I'll send it back to you. And I said, no, I don't. I said, he said, well, we got a message from Chase Bank saying CBA have requested the money to come back. Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
So they're even trying to they were trying to resend money or receive money sent to someone without your permission, without
me knowing, without my permission, without me knowing anything.
Without you asking for it. Absolutely ridiculous.
I did not ask for it. So I wrote an email to say, you know, I believe there's been a banking error. Do not send money back. This is my instruction. Do not send money back. So he just forwarded that to his bank and that's it. They don't get it back. I mean, I don't want that anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Look, thank you.
How far they're going.
Yeah, they're going very, very far, and the way, like, and I've seen this so many times, and I actually experienced it myself too. Some of them are so arrogant and condescending that they think that they are law, and it's ridiculous. And I think more and more people need to speak up and really understand it, and more people need to know that they have options. We're not stuck in this system. So I really, really thank you, Kerryn, for taking the time, sharing your story. I'm sure it's going to impact and really help a lot of people see what's happening in the world. Is there any final words you'd like to say before we end today's our chat today?
No, I just asked him if he's in cryptocurrency himself.
What do you say?
He paused and then he said yes.
Okay, so he's doing what he's told during work, but he's doing something. And I've been saying this, if you guys have been watching us for a while, yeah, all of 2020, when all the stuff and like, you know, during the hard time, during the bear market, with so much negative information going around and crashes and Celsius and FTX and Arrow and Luna, crazy stuff that was happening last year, we kept on telling people, they are buying right now. They're using this to buy. They're using this to accumulate. You should be accumulating, you know, get rid of the noise and focus on the goal. And people weren't listening. And then this year we're starting to see, you know, we're starting to see ETFs. We're starting to see, you know, more and more companies coming out, more countries around Bitcoin. So they are, they want to control, they want to try and accumulate as much as they can so that, you know, they can have as much of it. And they want to, you know, put fear in the community. Don't listen to these guys. I
know the fear is incredible. Like, you know, they have a massive sign in the bank that says all about scams and frauds. We're here to protect you, and et cetera, et cetera. Like it's a 6-foot sign, like really big, wide sign. And then they have, you know, the screens that have this big white ghost on it with a black screen to make it really scary, to say, you know, watch your phone, being scammed, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, but actually I almost felt like, have I been scammed? I looked up the ACCC's Scam Watch report, 46 pages or something, and it says, you know, there's 10,046 or something reports of scams. And one of the top scams, number 5, I asked the guy, I said, do you know what the top trending scam is on this report that's just come out? He said, no. I thought, well, you're in the scam department. I said, it's actually banking impersonators and cybersecurity and fraud department. That's where it's coming from. Biggest trend of scams. Yeah. So I wanted to know, actually, because he asked me for the passports. He said, have I seen the passports of the people that I'm sending the money to? I said, he said, have I physically met them? I said, no, I have not physically met them. They're overseas. He said, have you got their passports? I said, no, I don't have their passport. So I started to ask him, what's your passport? Like, who are you actually? Like, identify yourself, because that's why I asked him about cryptocurrency, you know, and then he said, this is not about me, my personal whatever. I said, well, I just want to know, where do you buy your crypto then? He said, Australian exchanges. I said, oh, okay, well, you know, but then that's it. But really,
it is what it is, and we just got to continue to educate the people, continue speaking up, because if we don't, more and more of our liberties are going to continue being taken.
I mean, I found out about the AFCA, the Australian Financial Complaints Authority. So my lawyer had said, yes, you could complain there. And then the bank, CBA said you can complain to them. They were going to tell me that, but I found out all that myself. So, the weekend was spent, it was really like a bit of loss of enjoyment of life, you could say, because I had to go back and try and recall the last 8 days or 10 days of, garbage that has been put on me, really. But you have to, I didn't want to be like a passive victim in that sense. I felt like I could be if you just say, oh, well, I'll just wait for the banking process. My lawyer said, these can take 30 days. I thought, I don't want to wait 30 days. Why should I have to wait 30 days for something I didn't ask for? I'm not in a scam. They can't prove it to me. Like, what?
Yeah, I hear you. I totally agree with you. They are overstepping so many boundaries. That's ridiculous. And this is why, again, we need to keep educating people. Kerryn, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate your support. Guys, if you have any questions, just reach out. If you have any experiences, also reach out. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to let the people know, let the world know what's going on out there. Thank you very much from me, and thank you, Kerryn. And as always, have a great weekend and stay crypto. Peace out.